Like to thank everybody for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about creating flexibility in our estate planning, especially when we're using irrevocable trust. Now, that may sound a little bit, more of a bigger issue. How can you create flexibility when using irrevocable trust? But if you think about the estate planning, when we're dealing with the estate planning, we're always trying to see, can we reduce the estate and in a lot of cases add asset protection as we're figuring out how the distributions to the heirs should be. When we're looking at reducing the estate, of course we can use annual gifts of 17,000 per year. We can use a big lifetime gift exemption of 12.92 million. We know the lifetime gift exemption is going to go up in 2024. It's going to go up again in 2025. But whatever it is at the end of 2025 is going to cut in half. So as we're thinking about our larger clients, we may want to be making those gifts now and using our lifetime exemption early so we can not only move the big gift out of the estate, but future appreciation. Life insurance is always a big part of the estate plan. When we've done all that we can on moving the assets out of the estate, or at least the assets that make sense moving out of the estate, then we look at if we have more estate tax to cover, more liquidity issues that we have to cover. Life insurance is such a unique leverage tool that it is perfect for the estate planning. Now, as you think about that, how can we move things out of the estate now, especially if we're dealing with spouses, move it out of the estate and still have flexibility in our estate plan? And I see a lot of irrevocable trust, ILETs, and other irrevocable trusts that have been designed by attorneys that didn't think about flexibility, didn't think about what if things change? What if we want to make, access money? So as we start looking at that, we have to kind of get outside the box and think what might happen in the future that we might want to change or have access to. Now, when we start looking at this, and I review a lot of trust each month, and it's interesting as I review irrevocable trust, most people forget the part that says irrevocable. Irrevocable means hands off, you can't touch it anymore. And I think, with a lot of clients, they start working with attorneys. The attorneys don't think outside the box, or they just don't do trust planning on a regular basis, and they don't know how to put flexibility into an irrevocable trust. But if you understand what you're designing here, and you can understand the goals of the clients, we can start getting a lot of flexible planning even in an irrevocable world. So let's take a look at this. What I'm going to look at is an irrevocable life insurance trust. So basically, we're going to take our typical irrevocable life insurance trust, and we're going to add spousal lifetime access provisions, SLAP provisions. Now, I guarantee if you're talking to a room of probably 100 attorneys and you talk about SLAP provisions, I'm going to say at least 75% of the attorneys might not know what you're talking about, especially if they don't do this on a regular basis. If you're talking to a room of 100 CPAs, maybe 90% or more haven't heard about it. But I'll also tell you, if you're talking to a lot of financial professionals, those in the insurance world, most of them don't know what we're talking about either. So this is going to set you apart from your competition just by understanding how all of this works. So let's take a look. So let's set up an irrevocable life insurance trust for a spouse. When we do this, we have to come in, and let's just say in this case, we're going to have the husband be the grantor. The husband as the grantor has a big job. His job is to help define how this trust is going to be set up. how that trust is going to be structured, who's going to benefit from this trust, who will be the trustees of this trust, and what assets is the grantor going to put in this trust. And so let's, for easy convenience here, let's just say husband's going to put $10 million, a nice round number, into this trust for his wife. Now we want that to be separate property, so it's not includable in, part of her estate. This is the husband's asset, so it's either separate property or community property that we've commuted to be separate property. Husband's going to set up this trust. He's going to put $10 million in that. And we're going to have a provision that says if there's any tax generated from the trust during husband's lifetime, that's going to be taxed back to him as a grantor trust. Now, if all that's in here is a life insurance policy, doesn't matter, because that policy is not going to generate any income. But if we're going to put business assets in here, if we're going to put a portfolio assets in here, anything that would generate tax, all of that would be taxed back to husband. Now, if husband and wife are filing a joint return during their lifetime, kind of no harm, no foul. But think about this: if we had the beneficiaries being the kids, now instead of that being taxed on the kids' tax returns or the trust tax return, during dad's life or husband's life, it's going to be taxed back to him. That's a free gift. So that's an extra gift that we don't have to account for. Now we have the assets in the trust. We've got everything going. Let's make the wife the trustee, and we're making the wife the lifetime beneficiary. Now, as lifetime beneficiary, we're going to give the wife spousal lifetime access provisions, which allows wife as trustee of this trust and as the primary beneficiary of this trust to look in the mirror and say, today's a great day. I'm going to take $1 million and go take a cruise around the world. And that works. The wife in this case has that much access to take that money out. Now, we can limit her access. We can say this is just for health, education, support. We can say this is just to keep you in your current standard of living. Or we can say, hey, doors wide open, go get as much of the income and principal of this trust as you want. Now, if it's a life insurance policy, she can access the cash value. She can use that during her life. When she passes on, whatever's left in the trust now goes to the remainder beneficiaries of the trust. So in this case, probably the kids or the grandkids. All of this is done estate tax free. And if we want to, we can add generation skipping provisions. So when husband or dad or whoever, grandpa here, puts that money in trust, we can have husband as the grantor not only use his lifetime exemption, but we can have him use his generation skipping exemption. And now we can have this set up in a state like Wyoming, Delaware, South Dakota, Nevada, one of those states that allow for multi-generational trust to last forever. So we can keep these assets in trust, just like wife here. During her life, we're going to give her access for health, education, support, kind of whatever she wants. We can also say when it drops down to the next generation after mom passes away, that it can be used for their health, education, support, whatever we want and whatever we want to encourage, but we can leave that in trust as long as we want and continue to avoid the estate tax forevermore if that's the case. But if you think about this, we're in an irrevocable trust. We've got flexibility during wife's lifetime. If something changes, she can pull those assets out and use them. If she doesn't need them, it passes on to the kids. And if we want multi-generational planning, we've already set up the right kind of trust for this, and we just keep moving forward. So if you think about this, we've created a great tool to not only reduce our estate tax, provide lifetime benefits to a surviving spouse, keep the life insurance death benefit out of the estate tax. And if we want a trust that is multi-generation, we've already put that tool in place. There again, irrevocable does not mean inflexible. Irrevocable gives us the opportunity to do more planning. So I appreciate everybody getting on. If you ever have questions, feel free to reach out. If not, we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you.